Ophidian Glare is the second full-length album from Finnish black metal trio Moon Oracle. And this album comes just a couple of years after their debut, which I had premiered on the site, as well as interviewed the band in brief. And their style is, I guess you could call it a black doom metal band. I would consider the point where Venom's more theatrical side meets up with doom metal is tangential, and then speed metal and all that, how that factors into a band like Necromantia. You could draw the lines wherever you see fit. I would say this band will definitely appeal to fans of Necromantia and Barathrum primarily still, but if you're a fan of earlier Rotting Christ, Root, or Mortuary Drape, those are appropriate comparisons in terms of feeling and approach to get you started, to get you in the door. This record comes from members of Blood Red Fog, Ride for Revenge, and it is raw. It is very straightforward in a lot of ways as far as the production values go. It is what a lot of people want to call barbaric or primitive. Really, I would say just a simple process of recording in a very simple way without overmixing it or overproducing it. It's kind of how black metal should technically be. And no, well, at the very least, they've improved the production values beyond Muse of the Night Side, which had some strange choices for drum samples and things like that. So the first thing we'll do is just get right into a song to show you the timbre of the record as opposed to the previous sound. So Hellenic black metal factors into just at least a couple of moments, or some of the main influences that seem to have conjured up this feeling of this record, and you notice that most, or I noticed that most, when the album opens. It opens with a bit of a kick, and that reminded me of earlier Rotting Christ, more or less. There are similar bands in that style that would also apply per the sort of the beat of it, and from there, we start to notice deeper layers of synth, which sort of fill in the blanks as far as the production is concerned, and creates just a slightly more full atmosphere, along with more guitar layers and a bass guitar tone that is both more emphasized but also pushed further into the mix so that it accentuates its interplay with the guitars a little bit better. I think this mix and just the general way they've recorded this is a bit stronger, and we can stop comparing it to Hail Conjurer because it isn't quite that raw and rough anymore. Maybe that'll be challenging for some people, but if you listen to any variety of classic European black metal, it shouldn't be such an issue here. Now, the thing is, the compositions are kind of a difficult summary to give, because earlier on there's a lot more of an exuberant introduction to this record. There are very strong, very characterized songs, especially kind of the first song and A Vision in the Mansion. I think those are the strongest sort of intentional introductory moments. As we press on in the record, we get I don't know, a couple of shorter songs that are less thought out, that are just purely working on more frantic aggression, a little bit heavier riffing, and these feel just more naturally achieved. Either they've been jammed, or some of these pieces were emergent, or just simpler writ. So their sort of Ride for Revenge pedigree shows up a little bit. Maybe that's whoever wrote the song. But as we move towards Wetter Sins Against the Current, I feel like the strength of the album picks back up. And that's kind of what does it for me in terms of being able to recommend this record, are the first few songs and then that song. Where it becomes challenging is on Abysmal Crimson Desert, which was about a 10-minute song that starts out very strong. It's got this sort of classic doom metal riff that they ride for about 4 minutes, and then it sort of falls apart with sort of a noisome kind of jammed. I don't know. It just doesn't really get the action across. It doesn't get any sort of feeling across. It just sort of dissolves. And I don't know. For a 30-minute record, it's a bit of fucking around, which is, it's all right. But it's not quite as tightly presented as the first record was in that regard. So for me, I think that they've done a great job following up on that first record with one that's even better in some ways and kind of in the same style and focus. It feels related. And maybe this isn't the place to talk about progress or, you know, anything pretentious, but I do think that this is a band worth checking out and following if you're interested in just this style of more doomed paced, earlier black metal style, which is, yeah, call it primitive if you want, but I would say it's expressive in a more primal way, which is just more interesting than, a lot of the usual faster paced, chopped out nothing music that we get from black metal a lot of the time. So that's my point of view. See if that lines up with yours, and check the record out. There's a bit more detail in the review. Check that out too.